Welcome to the stage, director Otto Bathurst and stars Ben Mendelsohn, Taron Egerton, and Jamie Foxx. Welcome. Yeah. You want to take a selfie?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How you doing? Yeah. Yeah?
Get some pictures. You don't want to sit here, man? You Robin Hood, man. Come on. You Robin Hood. Sit right here. Go down there, man. You Robin Hood.
That's right, I am Robin Hood.
In case you couldn't tell.
Put that on your Pimpstagram.
I actually want to start with Otto. This movie is actually going to be released on the 21st of November here, and it's going to be released 110 years after the first Robin Hood was ever made, which was 1908, obviously. There have been many different remakes, many different iterations of this. What made you decide to do another one 8 years now after the last remake?
It's a good question. And I tell you, when they came to me and said, "Do you want to make another Robin Hood film?" The initial reaction was like, "Really? Do we really need another Robin Hood film? There've been plenty of them." And then I kind of sort of dug into it and realized that actually the versions that we all know, whether it be from Hollywood or from the British film industry or anything like that, is a very, very, very narrow view of the kind of Robin Hood story. This is a story that's lasted for like 600-700 years and has been told in so many iterations. And so you ask the question, you ask yourself, why has this story lasted for so long? And I guess, wherever you've got corruption, wherever you've got, any kind of political organization or king or queen oppressing the people, whenever you've got a religion, oppressing the people, then you think we need a Robin Hood story. Forward wind to the 21st century, we got, one or two political leaders who are a little abusing their power. We've got some religions oppressing people in one or two countries in the world. We've got the occasional unjust war being fought, in some countries, and you kind of go, now more than ever, do we need, a Robin Hood story? So then you kind of go, okay, but how do we do it? And, we didn't want to make a sort of little history lesson or a dusty British fairy tale. If this is going to be for the 21st century, we've got to make a version of it that kind of relates to a 21st century audience. And so we jazzed it up a bit.
You did. It's very different. I saw it last week, and it's darker. It's actually a bit darker, I think.
What do you mean by that? What's all this racial tension up here, man? No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. You did look right at me, though. It's a bit darker, Jamie. No, I'm just kidding. I felt like Dave Chappelle there. Dave Chappelle, damn! I was incensed. I was beside myself.
I'm just letting you go, man. You do your thing.
Don't.
Yeah.
I'll be here all night.
Okay. So the screenplay's a bit darker. Did you purposely want to take it in a different direction? The screenplay.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Listen, I mean, there's no point. If anybody wants to see a traditional Robin Hood with men in green tights, don't go and see this film. You'll be very disappointed. This is a very, very, very different take on the whole thing.
And Jamie, you're obviously a bit of a comedian. Started out, and I can't see you over there. You gotta move your chair up.
I can see you.
Started out in Living Color. Were you always attracted to comedy?
I've always been like, growing up, as a kid, I used to do stand-up comedy in my third grade class. They would give us like time. My teacher was like, either you're gonna end up being in the office every day, or I'm gonna set aside some time for you every Friday and just let you tell jokes to the kids. And so luckily I had a teacher that was looking out. And then I would take, you guys are too young to know this, but Johnny Carson. Hilarious. Wow, that's crazy. Anyway, Johnny Carson, the original Tonight Show, I would just take jokes from the Tonight Show and tell them to the kids. They thought I was a brilliant comedian, but I was actually stealing from Johnny Carson. And that's how I started out, And then got to L.A., and just started doing all of the clubs. And am I supposed to be saying this?
Yeah, go on.
And got to LA and started doing stand up in the clubs. And I remember the first time I went on stage in LA, and there was a lot of gang members in the crowd at that time, because LA was sort of like, you know, I didn't know what Bloods and Crips was. There was a lot of Crips in the audience at that time. And so they were yelling and throwing stuff at people and stuff who was on stage. And then I just went up and started doing impersonations, but I would do them as if I was a Crip. So I would do like Mike Tyson. Yeah, Mike Tyson, I'm Crippin' with it. And they were like, oh my goodness. And so, and at that time I was the only black guy doing Ronald Reagan at the time. So, well, as a matter of fact, well, there you go again. And so things sort of jumped off from there, and I got on A Living Color, and the rest was history.
And you're also very musically talented. Got the Oscar for Ray Charles, right?
Yeah.
What made you want to do the transition, I guess, from comedy to serious?
I couldn't get a spot. Like, you got to think about this. It's like when we was coming up, like, it was all of the Wayans. It was like 1,000 of them. And then it was, you know what I'm saying? It was Martin Lawrence. It was Chris Rock. It was all of those guys that were doing, like, I mean, it was crowded. So every time I tried to jump off, like, especially in movies, like to try to do something funny, there was nothing out there. You know, because all of the sort of the slots was taken up. And then along came this movie called Any Given Sunday, which was Oliver Stone. And that sort of changed the trajectory of you know, what I was to be. And then once we caught that lick, you know, we always trying to catch a lick. So I caught that. I was like, okay, now I can step into that space. And then those type of dramatic roles continue to come along.
Willie, wasn't it?
Willie, my name is Willie. Willie Beeman, yeah. Yeah, so that's how it jumped off.
Right, and you had obviously a lot of musical background as well. But Taron, you can sing really well. By the way, in case you didn't know, you are actually Johnny from Sing is my son's favorite character. So,
oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Thank you.
Where did your history come from? Because you have you're Welsh, right? You consider yourself?
Yeah. I grew up in Wales, and there's a very strong tradition.
Is your mic on?
Choral singing. Hello? I think.
All right. Yeah.
No, I think it's.
All right, I can't hear you.
So yes, I grew up in kind of choir singing, and my dad's fairly musical. I've just always sang. I've always loved it. The only time I don't sing is when I'm not happy. You know, it's just. I enjoy it very much.
Are you happy now?
Very happy now, but I mean, I'm also trying to do my job now.
Oh, right. Me too. This is kind of off topic. Lanfer Pwinglgl. You moved there one? How do you say?
The village I grew up in?
Yeah, how do you say that? Yeah,
Not like
20 letters. 20 letters and 3 vowels. You say it a lot better than I did. Yeah, so you attended the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art. What made you want to start acting in the first place?
I think I've always liked storytelling, and I've always been a reader. Otto's actually, you know, we were just discussing Otto's next project, which is very, very exciting. I probably shouldn't say anything, should I? Am I allowed to? Yeah, Otto's directing some of the newest Dark Materials thing for HBO, which is just the coolest thing I've ever read. If you haven't read those books, you must. Anyway, boring digression. Taron, back on topic. Robin Hood promotional, 21st November.
But we were waiting on you to sing, though, bro.
Yeah.
Really? Aren't we waiting on him to sing something?
He does this all the time, doesn't he?
Baby, woke up sick this morning. I see what's something inside of me. And baby, I think I'm capsizing. The waves are rising and rising. And when I get that feeling, I need sexual healing. Sexual. Anyway, that's plenty of that.
Come on now.
Yeah.
Come on. Hot 97, that's that new Taron Egerton. Oh, I'm just kidding.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes. Anyway, I always liked reading storytelling, and I think acting was just a natural progression from that, really, which started in my mid-teens and auditioned for drama school and got a place at RADA, which was kind of, the dream place for me to go, and did 3 years there and then left and then got Kingsman and now I'm Robin Hood, which is really cool. I'm a very lucky guy.
Yeah, Kingsman was phenomenal, and of course, mentioned Sing. When did you factor singing into your thing? You always just sang?
I really wanted to do an animated film, and I told my agents I was desperate to do an animated film, and then one came along, which involved going along and singing for the audition. They said, "You want to go and be a singing gorilla?" And I was like, "Are you kidding?" Yes. And then that movie happened, and it just became this monstrous success, and yeah, I don't think it's the last we've seen of Johnny either, which is really exciting.
I hope not.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. Ben Mendelsohn, you're actually Australian.
Yeah.
You. Too right. I was reading that you took drama because you thought it was an easy class?
Yeah.
All right. And how did you make it from Australian productions over to the American television?
Oh, no, a long time. Like, I mean, I was, I started out at about 14. I did a film called Animal Kingdom, which kind of, blew up a little bit. And then what happened? I got and then I came over here, did a bit of this, I did a bit of that. And then, the Bloodline thing, and, did a bit of this, did a bit of that. And then, dushka, here I am.
Yeah, so you were
That show yesterday.
Yeah, we had a game yesterday. We were on another network where we had to do how well do you know your cast members. So that's why he's going.
I forgot the name. It's an uninteresting aside.
Well, it doesn't matter because go on, man.
So Bloodline, Dark Knight Rises, Star Wars Rogue One, now Sheriff of Nottingham. I mean, you play kind of jerks. But like in my limited time knowing you seem like a really nice guy.
He is. He's lovely.
So how do you find these characters?
Cash moves everything around me. Cream, get the money. Dollar bills, y'all.
So then, how did each of the three of you guys get attached to this project, to Robin Hood?
Through Otto's, Otto came and he came with a really strong, he had a fire in his belly about this because, the starting point that he was mentioning earlier, I'm just, assuming that it was something similar for the other gentleman, but, he came, he yabbered, he said, look, why do a Robin Hood movie? Well, this is why. And, he transmitted his directing fire to our little acty receptors. Boom! We're off, It's like scaleelectrics, you know what I mean? You drop it down, you don't have the power on it, and like nothing happens. But, you get zapped, and then, phew, off you go. Bushka.
That Otto, you wanted Taron so badly that you actually had to...
You can't tell the story of her, really? You're going to tell... Oh.
Can you tell the story? You had to postpone production?
We did, yeah, we waited.
Yeah.
Oh, that
We
story.
That story. That was like,
Vanilla.
There's a lot going on with this cast, isn't there? Yeah. So, I guess I want you to expound on that.
He wants you to say nice things about me, basically.
what he wants to do.
Yeah,
no, listen.
Like
I'll say
what
nice
makes
things about
Taron the best Robin Hood you found?
That happens though,
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, everybody's making it. I mean, listen, we did wait for him because we were absolutely passionate to have him.
He was filming Kingsman 2 at the time.
Yeah, and he's and he's absolutely perfect for the role. And when you see the movie, you'll get why we waited. But it's not. As Taron says, it does happen. It does happen quite a lot. Films slide and dates slide, and other films they're on, go longer. Or sometimes it works the other way. Sometimes you think you're starting in 6 months, and then suddenly a window comes open, and you've got to get going in 4 weeks. So it's not that unusual. But that said, we were very, very, very deeply committed to him playing Robin because he's awesome.
Thank you, mate. Thank you.
Yeah, it was amazing, and I mean, all of you have such original takes on these characters that we've seen time and time again. Especially, Little John. Jamie, how did you approach this brand new take on that character?
Well, that's the reason we jumped into it because can I say what the original title was?
Yeah.
Yeah, the original title of this was called Hood. It's a darker take. If you will. But the reason we wanted to fuck with it is because it was like he came with a brand new bag of funk on how to do it, bringing in, young Taron, and that it's not connected to anything traditional. And what tripped me out was, I guess I didn't realize that there were a lot of Robin Hood movies out there. I just thought that we was literally like maybe one or two or whatever like that. But the fact that he wanted to do it completely different and then do it in a way to where nothing was attached to the old days, even the way it looks. A lot of times people will sort of married to whatever the old school look was, but I thought the clothes in this, the what do you call it, the wardrobe in this is so fly. I was like, they should do like a catwalk of the clothes because it was so dope. And so that was the reason that I wanted to jump into it and do my character in a way to where I patterned my character off of, I don't know how much you know about cinema, but when Denzel did Malcolm X, anybody see that movie? Yeah. But when Denzel did Malcolm X, I sort of patterned my character, the guy, not Denzel, all right, okay, but the guy who, when Denzel went to jail. That guy. So I was like, remember when he said, think back, Brother Malcolm.
Yeah.
All those days. So look at you putting that conch in your hair. So I was always sort of like channeling him. And so it was just a brand new bag of funk,
And then Ben, were you any similar sort of thing in terms of?
No, but I love that. I love that because I actually have a theory that and it's not my fucking theory. It's just it's well established. Like good artists borrow, great artists steal. And that's a genius steal. That's a genius steal.
To be honest, what he's saying is actually true because there's difference, especially when it comes to movie acting. There's little things that you have to sort of grab. You know what I mean? Because there's some people are great whisperers. Like, you know what I mean by that? No, you don't know what I mean. Like Alec Baldwin is a great whisperer. Yes.
He is a great whisperer.
That's what's going on, of course. So it's a movie thing. So I grabbed that movie thing to sort of channel that stealing, I guess you would say. Stole that.
So just to, I know where you're going with this. So I think I'll jump in and I'll feed a little bit.
Okay.
I'll be good for a little while. This is why they cast me as villains, because I do whatever I want. It was really about political speak. Like this sheriff is really, Nottingham is a kind of a state. It's at war. We need people to be, good citizens. We need a lot of cash, and we need you to go off to war and fight. And if you can't do that, then you can make some cash or you can make some weapons. And if you can't do that, then off you go. So yeah, that was more the vibe, and Otto really laid that out. And there's a plethora of modern political speak or modern examples of that. Mm-hmm. That was what you were going to ask, right? Something
Totally,
like that?
100%.
Yeah. Bushka.
Yeah, Bushka. Taron, I guess say for you, did you watch any of the other previous iterations of Robin Hood, or did you just go at this?
No, I mean it's we're all here to facilitate Otto's vision for it, and Otto doesn't give a flying kerfuffle about historical accuracy. It's just not what floats his boat. And that's part of what our movie is. It's a reinvention. And I wasn't really interested in watching other Robin Hoods. I think what I was interested in doing was trying to make a Robin Hood that was, the whole thing is very rock and roll and gritty and fun, but I wanted him to be three-dimensional and vulnerable. He's a young guy. He's very sort of boyish in a lot of ways, which is obviously a huge stretch for me as an actor. I just wanted him to be flawed and to not to sort of not really be coping. I think that's what's interesting about him is he spends a long time not coping and then becomes later on, spoiler alert, something that we recognise as more heroic and Robin Hood-like.
Right. Is there a mic over there? I know there's a mic over here. If you have any questions for anybody, please start lining up. We probably have time for 1 or 2 questions. But you said historical accuracy is not what Otto cares about. However, I want to talk about Lars Anderson for a second. You all right there? Yeah? All right.
I'm getting water.
Yeah, Lars Anderson of Denmark, who has been nicknamed the real-life Legolas.
Ooh, that's harsh. He's way better than Legolas.
Taught you speed shooting. And if you guys go look this up on YouTube, this guy's amazing. You want to talk about Lars for a second?
Yeah, so Lars is a gentleman from Denmark who is a proponent. Is that the right word? He is a what's the right word? A proponent of this very specific archery style where you hold all of your arrows in one hand and you're essentially able to feed the arrows onto the string of your bow very quickly. He can do, I think, 9 in 4 seconds, can he? He can do upwards of 2 a second. And he is, it's a bit freakish, actually. And I watched the videos and I didn't buy it, to be totally honest. I didn't think it was real. And then I met him and it is real. And it's really quite extraordinary how quick and how accurate he is from a great distance. There was a day, part of the training we did was we would run around and try and shoot each other with arrows with big foam heads on them. And I know, it's great. I was getting paid to do this shit. It's amazing. And there was a day where I remember I hit him, and I didn't often hit him. I hit him probably the length of this room away. And it was the first time I'd hit him. And as I hit him, I made the mistake of laughing. And I think one guffaw into that laugh, he hit me right between the eyes. No lie. Right between the eyes. I didn't even know it had happened until after it had happened. He's extraordinary. And I mean, he's got millions and millions of hits on YouTube and in between my eyes. Oh yeah, here all week. It's not just Jamie Foxx, you know, I've got a few in my back pocket. And anyway, I spent a lot of time training with him, and the archery style you see in the movie is what he taught me. And it's very cinematic and very fast-paced, and was kind of an inspired move, I think, on Otto's part, because it's essentially Robin's superpower. It's a superhero movie, and his archery is his superpower.
Yeah. So what we see in the movie, you are doing speed shooting.
Yeah, I mean, I think the studio actually released some clips of me training.
Yeah.
No, I mean, one of the things we wanted to do was to make the movie feel kind of very visceral, and you're in it, and so these guys all had to get in there, and what you see Robin Hood do on screen, Taron Egerton does.
I mean, was this like a 20, 30, 40 take thing to do all this stuff, or were you like, I got this, this is first try?
Well, look.
I forgot I needed a mic. I'm not going to pretend that every arrow you see in the film is real, because, come on, we're all grown-ups now, aren't we?
You're shooting at Jamie.
Yeah, but I think that's part of why we've released these clips, because I did the work. The clips. And I make a very bold claim to that. I want it to be known that I did that work, because that's how I think it looks so realistic in the film, is the fact that I had that muscle memory and that strength from having spent 8 weeks doing it in advance of shooting. I
mean, Lars is throwing up targets, and Taron's like, boom, 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 and it's real. You're hitting it.
Thank you.
That's great. But let's go to a question here.
Hey, thanks again for coming, guys. Really appreciate it. This question is for Ben. I know we touched on you played some really awesome villains, antagonists. One that comes to mind. So we got Danny Rayburn from Bloodline. You played Robin in Place Beyond the Pines, so I thought it was a really great character.
Thank you.
And that does seem like a departure from your personality. So can you tell us a little bit more about? He's nodding his head now. Can you tell us a little bit more about your creative process to get ready for those characters? Do you have any good whisperers that you take from?
Oh yeah, no. There's a lot of stealing. I mean, I think if you see something, you want it because what you're trying to do is bring different flavors. You know what I mean? I look the way I look. I have certain things that are kind of inbuilt into me and la 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 la. So you're just looking for inspiration for, this would be a bit nice in here. This would be a bit nice in there. So you kind of get a few ideas. You might think about a person's mindset, but then. Here's the thing about it, though. I really believe you do all that stuff and you kick it around in your head, but then game day comes. You sort of know the story, you know everything that's going around. But game day is just about, frying it up, flipping it over, seeing what happens. So it's really the freedom you allow yourself on game day. And what happens is this. It all then gets assembled. Like I would do this, or do that, do this, do that. Then it all gets assembled, and that you take in as the character. But there's any number of variations or shit things that I do along the way that don't make it in, or this or that or the other. But hopefully, the aggregate of all the decent stuff that works in context of the film goes in, and you go, oh, that's that character. But it's not really that way when we're making it, all you're doing is grabbing tiny little bits that have to have their own funk, their own life to them.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Not at all, thank you.
Yeah, over here.
So, how many pounds on the bows you use?
It varies. I think the English longbow was about
But you can't use those that fast. So I'm asking for the movie.
Oh, for the
God, if you're asking, we have different bows for different purposes when we're filming it. So some are rubberized if you're using them for fight.
I have to Google that.
So when you
I was trying to get to my phone. He was like,
training in this big room.
Oh yeah.
So what about?
I wouldn't know the actual weighting now. It was 2 years ago. I've got far more important factoids to be storing.
I disagree.
You serious about that?
Man. That's a fair question.
I want
to
know how many pounds. Fuck all that. When I go see this, I need to know how many pounds. Not one piece of popcorn will be bought until I find out how many goddamn pounds in this motherfucking movie. All right, go on with your questions.
Hey, how you doing? This question is actually for Jamie. So I'm a big fan of your work. Been around, from Gold Digger, Ray.
Oh man, thanks.
Etc.
Thank you, brother.
So just really curious, especially as a black actor in Hollywood, how
Yeah.
you're able to really block out all that extra noise that's happening around you and keep finding new challenges, new projects that are going to keep you, moving forward.
You got a great voice too.
Yeah.
You got a great voice, right? Like he was on CNN or something.
Yeah.
We're here at CNN with Jamie Foxx. You know what, man? It's just a wonderful time to be. I've been in the game for a minute now, to be honest. But it's keeping your light on. It's like, and what I mean by that is sometimes we'll reach certain successes and then we'll turn our light off. Meaning like we forget about why we're here. And to me, I'm always sort of looking ahead. I feel like I'm just starting. So when I meet these guys, Taron and Ben, and see, these guys had dreams and they come, we're in the same room together and we're doing these great projects and Otto. So it's sort of, that keeps you going. And then as far as the noise is concerned, I'm not for sure what you meant by the noise.
Just like in general, I'm assuming that as an actor, there's just always going to be, some sort of negative light, especially as a back actor trying to find roles. So more so, for you, how do you just, have like a daily mantra of, this is who I'm going to be and this is how I'm going to go after it in order to keep moving forward.
You're so soothing. I'm gonna just get you to record like hours of just your voice, and that's how I'm gonna get through all this shit. And just press play. Jamie, you can do it no matter what. When you wake up in the morning, make sure when you eat your breakfast, and after you eat your breakfast, you're going to eat your lunch. And then once you eat your lunch, you're just going to be able to go and do. You're great, man. Listen, to be honest with you, I'm glad as far as being a black actor, this is a great time for all actors. But in a sense, I've always wanted to be like, hopefully one day we'll be able to say, we're eating pizza. What I mean by that is that when you eat pizza, you don't say, this is pizza from Italy. Italians made it. So therefore, when it comes as far as the black actor thing, I just want to keep on growing and keep on doing things so where it becomes just regular. Like, we just doing art, we doing acting. And I do understand what you mean, because when I do see, like, John in this movie, and for the kids that's in New Orleans that rode up in a bus and were yelling out, Jamie Foxx, they can see that and have a different perspective and not feel that there's ever the stuff that you're talking about. Just like how my daughter, who's 10 years old, she doesn't know really that having a black president was a big thing. You know what I'm saying? So we just keep moving, and that's all you can do. Keep moving and stay energetic, and let me get your phone number so I can take your voice and use that in my next film.
Great answer. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, last question over here.
Great.
So the last quick question for all the people here, for Jamie, when's her next music release?
Well, me and Taron are working on some things right now. Taron, what was it, Saturday night, and it ain't got nobody. What was you saying?
Another Saturday night and I ain't got nobody.
Hey.
I got some money and I just got paid. Oh, how I wish I had someone to talk to. I'm in an awful way.
Yeah. So that's what we doing.
Awesome.
Get that on iTunes, Spotify.
Also, if it's cool, I got a little something for you.
Uh-oh, let me hear it. Okay. All right. Okay, Thank you, brother. Great, man. Thank you so much.
Did it give you a phone?
No, he gave me an iPod Touch. So the music on this, right?
Check it out.
There's some music on here, right? I know what you're doing.
Very well done.
Oh, you the greatest.
I like that.
Oh, I love it, baby. We gonna cook too. What's your name? Elbert. That's perfect. I know it's gonna be some hot shit on here too. I know he got. Did he make it happen? He made that happen. I love it. He made that shit
Let's
happen.
spawn that guy. All right.
That's game.
That guy. We got a couple minutes left. 1 minute left here. What's next for you, Taron? What's going on?
I'm going to spend the next week and a half spreading the word about Robin Hood, which comes out on the 21st of November, and I'm very excited about it. And then I'm going to go and put my feet up for a little while because I've had a busy summer and I am knackered. So I'm going to enjoy Christmas and be with my family and not work for a little while, I think.
You want to talk about Rocket Man?
Oh yes, I have that. Yes. Okay. I see what you're doing. Oh, you gave me it. That was good. Yeah. Yeah, my next movie, I'm playing Elton John in a musical about his life. So that comes out in May, and it's great. The joy of my job is that there's variety, and as Ben talked about different flavors, it's a very, very different side to my personality, and I feel it stretched me in ways I haven't been stretched before, and I've loved it actually. I've really loved it, and I'm very excited about the film. I have high hopes for it.
Yeah. Me too. Yeah. More singing. That's all I want.
More singing, lots of shouting, lots of kissing men. It's been awesome though. I've loved it. It's been such a great opportunity.
Ben, you're going to be in Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
Nice. That is so cool.
Yeah, I'm scrolling. I am scrolling. This is going to complete this iteration of evil. And let me tell you something. When I be scrolling, you watch out. I'm going to them up. I know that'll come out in March, and you can all get your little dose of flavor back on your tongue around that time. It's going to be green. It's going to shapeshift. It's going to be very nasty indeed. Scrolling.
Otto, you're filming a TV show called His Dark Materials about two children who embark on a magical adventure through a parallel universe. I didn't cover. That's correct, right? You're looking at me like you're confused.
Yeah, it's okay. That'll do.
So I didn't cover at first that you also directed the very first Black Mirror episode on Netflix. And do you have a kind of an attraction to the alternate universe sort of thing here?
No, not at all. I have an attraction to telling stories that just ask a few questions. And so when the Prime Minister is asked to do something with an animal, that's an interesting reflection on politics.
And Jamie, what's next for you?
I just finished this movie with Michael B. Jordan called Just Mercy. You get a chance, check out Google Brian Stevenson and Walter McMillan about a man who's wrongly accused of a murder in Alabama, and he gets put on death row without a trial. He's on death row for 6 years, and a young Brian Stevenson, played by Michael B. Jordan, who's an intern, comes and takes his case, and wonderful things happen. And then I'm going back out on my stand-up tour, so make sure y'all come check out I got brand new jokes, man, and I got some joints that you're really gonna enjoy, and it's gonna be great navigating through the new time of doing stand-up comedian. So right now the title's called Kill the Comedian, so make sure you come check me out.
Nice.
Nice, man.
Everybody, please go see Robin Hood in theaters on November 21st, or you can visit robinhood.movie for more information. Everyone, please help me give them one more round of applause.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
That's great.